Well, I think there isn't a better time in the night than a comedian than right after a very serious speech. Those of you that still don't know there's a comedian happening, great. It is very tough being introduced as a comedian, as Rafi Zimmerman did an excellent job barely introducing me. Thank you, Rafi. They don't call him the best guy in the young adult minion for nothing, so well done. The tough thing about being introduced as a comedian is that there's this immediate pressure to be funny right away. It's the only thing that's like that. Everyone's always like, oh, you're a comedian? Prove it. That doesn't happen with other jobs. They're never like, oh, you're a Moel? Prove it. I don't think you want me to. Rabbi Kushner's like, by the way, that totally happens, so. I like making people laugh when that's what I'm trying to do, but when people are like, you are hilarious, man, when you play basketball, do you actually shoot like that for real? I'm like, no, I'm just naturally uncoordinated, whatever. And one time I was telling somebody a joke, and this girl, she was French, and she still is French. And at the end of the joke, she laughed, and I said, "Oh, you understood?" She said, "No, you have a funny face." So that's kind of what I was going for, And people are very, very encouraging when they hear that you do stand-up. Most people, when I said, "Oh, I'm performing at the Yeshurun dinner," they're like, "Oh, that's gonna be really scary." I was like, "I know." And they're like, "How long are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know, about 20 minutes." They're like, 20 minutes? But you're terrible. I would say that was just my brother, but that's... He has the convenience of just making a video and turning Rabbi Con into a sandwich, and that's fine. Those of you that didn't see the spiel, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but... Apparently somebody actually complained about turning Rabbi Con into a sandwich. They're like, this is so disrespectful. If you're upset about turning Rabbi Con into a sandwich, I think you should really chill out. I have no joke there, I'm just saying. But also people come up to me and often when I first started performing, people always come up to me and they say, I'm always scared they're gonna go up to me and be like, you got guts for going up there, man. You were not funny at all, but you got guts. I'm like, that's kind of what I was going for, but not really. But I try, I don't have the greatest athleticism. I'm not very athletic. Some people have more of a Hagba build. I have more of a Glila build. I don't know if that's... By the way, I always feel like Hagba guys are always showing off for the women's section for some reason. They're always like, ladies. And as a Glila guy, you can't really do that. You can't be like, ladies, hey, what's going on? But yeah, I try working out, so I don't die. But I'll see somebody jogging and I'll think to myself, why can't I do that? And then I'll remember, oh yeah, I'm on my way to Dunkin' Donuts, and that's probably why. My friend told me he ran 5 miles the other day. I was like, wow, there's a Dunkin' Donuts 5 miles from here? It was amazing. I'm not great at sports. I feel like, when God was giving me and my brother our talents before we were born, he kind of made it unfair. They're like, oh, the two Lebowicz brothers, let's see what we're gonna do here. The older brother, let's make him 5'10". The younger one, let's make him 5'5" and awkward when he talks to people at Kiddush. The older brother, let's make him good at sports. The younger one, let's make him good at bananagrams. The older brother, let's make him funny and witty. The younger one, let's make him really good at bananagrams. That'll be good. I'm very self-conscious sometimes about my image, So especially after Pesach, I don't know, you gain that 20 pounds, or maybe that's just me. Especially when you're flying somewhere after Pesach, I always flying, you're in TSA security, always stops you and they always say, with your bags, and they say oh, excuse me, you're overweight. And I'm like, my bags? Like, no, you. I'm like, I didn't know my grandmother worked at TSA security, so. But I am taking solace in that if this doesn't go well tonight, my brother and David Friedman will have plenty of material for next year's Perm Spiel, so that's good. And if it does go well tonight, then my brother can stop pretending like he's not related to me, so that's good. People also, by the way, when they find out you're a comedian, they always try to give you material what to say, and they're pretty terrible ideas. Somebody came up to me, he said, so Torah and the Iker walk into a bar. Where do I go with that? Another guy came up to me once, he said, you know, you should do a joke about napkin holders. I said, where's the joke? He said, that's your job. It's like, that's not how that works. But I also actually brought up the Likutei Peshatim up here just in case I ran out of material. Because I love the Likutei Peshatim, especially all the ads that have every exclamation point after every single thing. I circled them all. It says, attention women and girls! If you love Judaic art or appreciate, you must come! Like, chill out, Likutei Peshatim, okay? I am so proud of you, all your hard work. Everyone stop yelling, okay? Do you have teens or preteens? You don't want to miss this last lecture in Olo Shalom's Community Parenting Series, dealing specifically with teens. Stop yelling, okay? It's very weird. I love Likutei Peshatim, by the way, because when I'm in New York, whenever I go to a shul, I try to read the publication, and it's always so boring because I don't know any of the people. But Likutei Peshatim is amazing. I mean, Likutei Peshatim is the greatest. Like, what other publication can you see an ad praising shallots for their 9 days menu, written probably by the people who own shallots? Where else can you read a publication that says, do not read this during Chazaras HaShas and laning, and read it during laning? Sorry, but I do that. Rabbi Fliegelman is here. Rabbi Fliegelman, I don't know where you are. There? Okay. There you go. Rabbi Fliegelman's here. Rabbi Fliegelman's great. He always smiles at everybody, even if he has no idea who they are. It's very good. Rabbi Fliegelman was actually visiting. It's good. There you go. He has no idea I'm even talking about him. But Rabbi Fliegelman, when he visited me at YU once, and him and his brother were there. And while we were talking, somebody walked by, and his brother Barry said to Rabbi Fliegelman, he said, "Oh, Louis, you know this person. You know his brother actually." And Rabbi Fliegelman started talking. "Oh, that's great." And then they end the conversation. He said to the guy, he said, "Oh, say hello to your father." And the guy's like, "You mean my brother?" He's like, "Him too, you know." Rabbi Fliegelman, always good. And there wasn't enough pressure, by the way, tonight. Rabbi Matanki and Rabbi Shapiro are both here, as well as that girl that I asked out in 10th grade that said no. So there's a lot of... Okay. I was going to say Heshi Wenger wrote that joke, but that would be weird. I was just saying. So Rabbi Con does apparently talk to animals. I didn't know that. I asked the Rebbitzin that happened. She says yes, and she said the scary thing is that he thinks they can hear him. And I said it's the same thing with his congregants. Oh, chill out, everybody. Calm down. Rabbi Con said to me, I said, Rabbi, what am I allowed to say? He said, you could say anything except don't make fun of Horton Hears a Who. Because that is my Bible. My second Bible. I love how Rabbi Con was talking about preparing all his Shabbos Shuvah drashas and Shabbos Hagadol drashas and all those. And I guess he does say that he does prepare a long time on it, but you would think if he prepares so much time that he wouldn't have to he would actually go in order in the source sheet. He wouldn't say, flip to side 1, flip to side 2, flip to side 1, flip to side 2, and I feel like he's going to trick you up, side 1, side 2, side 2, side 1, gotcha. But my favorite Rabbi Con story is one time, I think they had something, Rabbi Con said that they had something wrong with their fireplace, and they called, it was on a Friday afternoon, there was something wrong with their fireplace, and they called the 311 to come and fix it, but they didn't come until it was already Shabbos, and Rabbi Con got home from shul, and he went to, they said Kiddush, they said Shalom Aleichem, they said Kiddush, and they went to wash, and then they're about to cut the challah for Hamotzi, and there's a knock at the door, and it's the fire department, and Rabbi Con, like the amazing person that he is, goes to the door with a knife, and opens the door for the fire department holding a knife, who have no idea what the emergency is. They just see him holding a knife, not talking, going like this. Yeah. I have no punchline after that. That just says it all. I love, by the way, my favorite thing is trying to explain Jewish customs to non-Jews, because like we're used to it, so we know what we're doing, and I guess we're used to it. But if you ever like catch yourself doing it, it's ridiculous. So we have to cover the bread so it doesn't get embarrassed, and then we take a 14-inch knife and we cut it in half. Yeah, and that's like an easy one to explain. I was actually performing at University of Maryland Hillel, and I was performing with a couple other comedians, and one of the comedians wasn't even Jewish, and we were performing, and we were actually at this meal first, at the Shabbos meal first, and it was right around Purim, and everybody at the meal started singing Misha Nifnasad or Marvin B'Simcha, and the guy is like, what's going on? And I said, oh, don't worry, we're just singing, we're happy it's the current month that it is. Oh, wait a second, this religion is weird. To somebody who doesn't know anything. I also love, I like that I can, relate to the crowd, because I often know when, Jewish events get a Jewish comedian, it's always somebody who's Jewish, meaning he saw Fiddler on the Roof once, or he has a beard, and they always try to pander to the crowd, but they don't do it in a good way. They always go hey, bagel, you know what I'm talking about. And, they can't really do, jokes about, Yal Vievo guy. You know you want to hear it, okay? Listen, Rosh Chodesh is coming up. First of all, the Yal Vievo guy, I find one of the most annoying characters in Shul. I'm not talking about the rabbi who, or the gabbai who pops Yal Vievo. I'm talking about the guy who rushes through Shmona Esrei just so he can beat you to Yal Vievo. Yal Vievo, haha, I beat you all. And you just turn to him in the middle of your Shmona Esrei, and you just think, shut up. And then of course you forget Yal Vievo anyway. And for some reason we're allowed to go back, no matter how far we've gotten into Yal Vievo. Into the Shmona Esrei, we always go back to Yal Vievo. Even if we're the last word of the old kindness sore, we're going to go back to Yal Vievo. It's I got to go baback, But for some reason, if we get one word past Al Hanisim, you're just oh, it's too late, I can't. Kind of like when you leave your house without a jacket and it's too cold, but you're no, it's too I'm too far back, gotta go. That was actually one of gross. Listen, I come up with a lot of my jokes during Shmona Esrei, and it's really not good. A, because I think God's going to give me some midi kneged mida, because if I think of jokes during Shmona Esrei, next time I'm on stage, He's going to make me think of Shmona Esrei. So, it's not my fault. That's just the way, I think of during Shmona Esrei, and Yom Kippur doesn't help either. Yom Kippur, I really do try. The thing that scares me the most about Yom Kippur, by the way, is that most people have the Asham news. You have Asham news, Bagadnu, Gazal. The one that scares me the most is called the Latznu, because that means I have made a mockery of serious things. I'm that's all that I do a lot of the time. So Latznu, 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 Latznu. This is going to be a while. Listen, I'm trying. Yom Kippur, though, is hard because you're trying to go, you look through the Moxer, you're counting the pages, let's be honest, dividing by 2, thank God. 350, 175, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And, you try and you see a paragraph that says, some shuls say this piyutim, and you're I hope Yeshurun it's not some shuls. I really do. I try. But yesterday, actually, on Shabbos, we had a Birchas HaChodesh. Birchas HaChodesh, by the way, is one of the funniest things, because there's a point where they have to announce when the molad will be before they announce Rosh Chodesh. So they always there's always some weird hesitation in everybody, because nobody knows what a lot of this stuff means. Because they're always the molad will be Tuesday, 6:30, and 7 chalakim after 5. And everyone else is just okay. But what's a chalak anyway? And when's Rosh Chodesh? I never know. I got the We want dessert. I know you're making them laugh, but you're defying the odds, but they're hungry and they're Jewish. So Jews will go to any event if there's food, no matter what it's even called, even if it's like Revive Yasser Arafat, people will be like, will there be sushi? I should at least go. I'm not actually, okay, fine. Some people are just like, you can't, no. But I think one of the things that everybody can relate to is on Friday nights sometimes when you're in shul and you're thinking about, you're in Shemona Esrei, during the summer especially, you're doing Shemona Esrei, you're trying to have kavana, then you do one of these. I hope people think I scratch my chest this way, because it's very often like when somebody, kind of like when somebody waves to you, but they're not really waving to you, they're waving to the person behind you, but you already waved, and then you gotta go like this. Also, the same thing, by the way, also if you're out of Sfiras Omer, but you still go to shul, because you can't participate in the bracha, but everyone else is, so you kind of have to fake it, because everyone else is like, and you're just like, I'm still in, I promise, I swear. Rabbi Con, by the way, is a very big davening clapper. I don't know if you're familiar with this phenomenon. Those are the people that are, and I'm like thinking to myself, defense. It's very distracting, Rabbi. I'm trying to think of jokes, and you're disrupting my Shemona. Probably not gonna work. I don't like coming to shul late because I don't like being Baruch guy. You know that guy that goes like, Baruch Hu Hashem Baruch, everyone's like, psst, that guy was late. I also don't like coming late to shul because I don't like getting stuck with a Russian sitter. Davening is in Hebrew, but for some reason when I see that, I'm like, what is that, an upside down 2? I can't read this. That's not gonna work. But I used to make some jokes about things that I probably shouldn't. Like I have a few jokes about Rashi, and Rabbi was like, oh my God, no. Listen, I'm just saying my experience when I learned Rashi, that learning Gemara with Rashi sometimes can be very frustrating because Rashi does a few things that kind of are hard to deal with. Like the first is when he says sometimes Gemara Mafarish. That's all he'll say. It means the Gemara will explain. You're like, thanks, Rashi. I guess I could get reading. The next, everyone's just like, fine. Just one other thing that Rashi does that bother me is that when Rashi kind of becomes Google search, you look at Rashi, you have no idea what something means. You look at Rashi, and Rashi says, I don't know what this means, but you know how you say that in ancient French? You're like, no, Rashi, I don't. And now I need a French jastro, and that's not helping me at all. I lost one of my notebooks with my jokes in them, and it was very nerve-wracking. Not because I would forget my jokes. I was more scared that some homeless guy in New York was going to find my notebook and start telling my jokes. But I don't really know what I'm afraid of. Is he really going to get his life together, get up on stage, and be like, "Don't you hate 3-day yontifs when you can't shower?" I know, it's the worst. That's not happening. I don't understand the idea of a candy man in shul. You always tell your kids, don't take candy from strangers. Unless, of course, you say good Shabbos to them first. I don't know. I recently, by the way, got engaged. She doesn't know yet, so no, I'm just kidding. But I did get engaged, and when I first started dating people, I always come up to you. First of all, once you're a guy and you just hit 18, everyone's just like, are you in the Parsha? And before I knew what that meant, I was like, I don't know, what Parsha is this? I fell asleep during landing. Are we still in Vayikra? Or people are like, are you in the Parsha? I guess not, now that I'm engaged, I'm like, I'm in the Haftorah. I actually proposed on Super Bowl Sunday, which is a terrible idea to do, just saying, because I had my l'chaim right after the Super Bowl, but I had no idea when it was going to end, so I had to tell people, in an email, I said, hey everyone, we want to have l'chaim right after the Super Bowl, and I was like, in the last line I said, here's hoping it doesn't go into double overtime. And God's like, haha, power outage. Who's the comedian now, Bananagrams? Maybe you should go easy on the Rashi jokes. Guys, thank you very much. I'm Lebowicz. Find me on YouTube or whatever. Have a good night. Rabbi Con, Mrs. Con, thank you very much. Good night.